Peace, peace, peace. Greetings, greetings. Let's see if I can. Greetings to all. Peace and love to you all. Let's see if I can change this lighting, but I'll probably just do this because I want y'all to see just greetings, to my world as an artist. And that an artist like being all the way around. But what I really want to share with y'all about today, trying to make sure this phone doesn't take a tumble. But I want to invite y'all in to just share with y'all about this journey that I've been on with myself and my artistry. As you can see, new masterpieces that are going to be shared and uploaded soon. Give honor to Source, the creator, known and unknown, most high, whomever your higher power is. Most importantly, give a gratitude to yourself upon your journey, whatever you celebrate right now. Just give gratitude wherever you are. Some of you that on a, what do they call it, Gregorian or something, the calendar, people celebrated the new year. And coming to my own awareness, like to each his own, what everybody do, but my coming into my awareness, I see spring being things that are growing, being the natural, organic new year, because we're in a winter, as those would say in the Western aspect of things, and nothing really is growing. Things are probably growing, that we probably don't see, but this is like a hibernation or things withering away, dying away spiritually, letting go, so forth. Just how I perceive it. But I want to bring y'all into my world. I feel like this is like a little episode or something, or just bring you into my world of like artistry. If I can find some chapstick, that would be so good. And I do have some, so I don't gotta keep licking my lips. So, yeah, as you can see, if you see a gloss on a lot of these, this is because the lighting, I put gloss on them because for protective reasons, to whomever is going to, receive them. So that protects it. But again, I don't think a lot of people really know the journey of an artist and really know to the depths. So I'm going to invite y'all in upon my journey, and more so like even just from childhood to now, and elaborating more. The reason I'm just being called to talk about this is because I'm really starting to see like the expression of my art now has a lot to do with what you may not realize, or a lot of people may not realize, is more internal and external. And this can correlate or be connected to even all forms of artistry, which is an expression of God, I see it, or looking through the lens of the creator. This is how I perceive it. So, because again, I've been given the gift to express it. And I always felt like an artist has the power to affect so many without uttering a word. So, my journey of artistry, yes, it really began when I was a child, since I can remember. In my experiences, I did grow up, that being one of my escapism, but it wasn't so much to escape the world. It was so much of what now I realize is just a natural ability, and now seeing the connection, how I connect that with my mental health, my healing journey, my being and expressing myself, who I am, without saying a word. So a lot of which, since my childhood, I remember it, elementary. I had this this teacher. I think I was probably, probably third, fourth grade or whatever. This teacher, I just reflect on how we used to use the clay. Blooming's Art Festival, people recall that, and I remember winning like first and second place and so forth or whatever. I just remember those things vividly of that experience. You know, I remember on other videos I've expressed how like when I used to create things when I was younger in those classes, you know, kindergarten, first, third grade, and I would create something and automatically the attention would be drawn to me rather than any of the kids in the class. And so at that time, I didn't really care for comparisons. I just thought that this was just something natural, like, okay, like, and so this was something that, as a child, I realized that really brought me a lot of stability and security. Um, and see, the journey of this as an artist, or like I said, like expressing from the eyes of the creator, it really is a process of, takes a lot of surrenderance. It's been a lot of growth from it. Having going through relationships where, or even through journeying in my life, I had no idea of, you know, where it could take me, where it would lead me. Where there was other times where I was more focused on girls, women, focus on basketball, focus on things that really, a lot of people that don't know, when I was in high school or whatever, I would, I remember just having, I didn't care about really much else, reading or whatever else in school. I really cared about art more than anything, like my expression of it. And I knew what I had at that time was different or unique, weird, some may call it. And I just remember like averaging like a 99 because how some may seem fast I would create things, but for me, it was more so the passion I had for it. And that was kind of like my only attention grabber, or to even certain relationships when I was younger. Like, it was an honor to draw something for a girl. It was an honor to draw something for someone because it was a part of me, now I'm realizing, was my inner child expressing who I am and how I wanted to connect with other people. And the reason I'm expressing this is because to let everyone else know, like, you have something uniquely. We have many gifts. We are limitless within, and a lot of the awareness I'm gaining now is to see how much, and being a bridge, using my artistry for now mental health, using my artistry to reflect my journey. And so in reflecting that, there were times even the other day, me and my princess went outside. You know, it's kind of cold where we are, and I was like, oh. But she wanted to go out, and we were using chalk. And you know, those of you that, you know, chalk, I was like, oh my gosh. So here I am. I was much shorter back then, but here I am taller, and I had to bend down. But it really, what it done for me, brought back something that I know I needed to be restored with. And I feel like a lot of us on this healing journey, we're being restored with that joy that we felt was lost for so long. I was on my journey going through the abusive household and emotional manipulation, you know, upon a lot of things, childhood woundings and childhood traumas. At a point in my life, I really, you know, which I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this, is that we felt a joy, or to be loved or to be embraced or received, had to be from someone else's hand, or them expressing from their mouths how much they love us, or even through their actions. And we, being what we have learned from our value and what we have seen others mirror back to us, what our value was, being whatever our upbringing was, I can see from how that deterred me from, like, I steered off, but also came back. You know, I allowed the love within myself and the love that I was seeking at that moment, how what I was seeking externally steered me away from my calling or purpose, or, you know, many gifts that I have within. So I say that to say the fact of how, even with our childhood woundings, in those woundings still reflect our journey, our path, where we're going, who we're going to reach, whether that be thousands, millions, and so forth. You still are valuable. You still have a purpose. So in those moments where I was seeking things, not knowing or having guidance of where it is I'm going or what it is I'm doing, the divine has a way of always, like, now I see the security in how always divinely orchestrating, or everything has been divinely orchestrated. You know, God has always been, had the last say so, and we're just like instruments of this whole orchestra or divine scheme of things. We're literally a part of my past, and what I've experienced is my song. And so when there were moments where I did grow up, and going back to the chalk thing with my princess, that was a part of me reconnecting with my inner child. Even though it was cold, I was about to throw in the towel because I'm like, it's cold out here, but I went and got her some gloves. Even though I didn't have mine, I still made the best of it. But then I saw the bigger picture and how reconnecting to that chalk and seeing how just being able to see the things right in front of you, being able to give gratitude and being open, no matter the uncomfortability, made me stepping out of that uncomfortable, wanting to be comfortable in the heat or whatever, but me stepping out of my comfort zone and going out there and realizing how much she is a guiding light and how much I'm being guided to see, from her external point, but also from an internal aspect of how, just a simple chalk drawing stuff. And it immediately made me connect back to where I didn't have chalk. But my childhood, where the homes where, again, there were physical abuse and so forth, there were moments where I would go outside, and those of you that grew up in the South, or whatever you want to call that area, there's clay or rocks out there that are typically orange, browns, or certain different hues. And so I remember just specifically one day, my neighbor had like a 5.0 Mustang, a blue one. But even though I didn't have that color, I still drew, like I was consistent. I still drew like that was my chalk, and I still drew out the Mustang. Like I drew it out the best way I knew how. Not having no knowledge of 3D art, which you see now displayed, people do 3D art. Not having any knowledge, because this is, again, the lifestyle that, say someone had that experience and having chalk and, doing all these things. But just the experience now to be exposed to where I'm about to get into, even with middle school, high school, is me seeing that specific rock or material as, my chalk. I could appreciate it. But just also seeing the consistency I did at a young age to be able to draw a whole car in a road. And so with that, I just remember that brought up a memory where when me and my daughter and I was out there playing with, the chalk, and just seeing how I'm drawing something and she's drawing it her own way. And it's just the gratitude in all of it. How everything comes full circle, how everything's coming back around. And so going back from my middle school to high school, at a certain age, I'm trying to think, I think it's before I got back to high school, I would just, and I'm just telling y'all the process, I would just be sketching in a notebook. I had no idea of, and this is before I believe I moved back from my dad's when I was like younger, after, troubled youth or whatever, and came to this high school. And I had no idea. Like, again, I would just be sketching little things in a notebook. And I realized how much I had no knowledge of those of you that aren't familiar with art, but those of you that are, like, you have pencils. Let me see. Here we go. Like pencils that is this one. Basically a pencil like this, but it would have like, I think it's like HB or H2H or something. And this is different hues, I believe, yeah, of the lead is darker or lighter. I had no idea that this was made. I'm telling from my experience, coming from my upbringing, survival mode and all like this, I was using a number 2 pencil for so long. Like outside of what I didn't have at school. And the reason I'm saying this is because this goes back to, again, I'll be talking about value system. It just even relates to how, you know, what mom and dad did or whatever, or, you know, whomever were in my life at the time, what they prioritized wasn't something that I really, you know, realized I wasn't in alignment with my gifts. That makes a lot of sense. Or had I not went through it, then I wouldn't be where I am now. But where I'm getting at is the value system of how our caregivers or whatever mindset is more on survival, or, you know, them not really being in alignment with what they love to do. So that was a way of me unconsciously teetering or my path being deterred, but somehow, some way, we're always coming back. Everything always comes full circle, you know, come back into alignment. So I used to be with a number 2 pencil a lot, sketching, pens and certain things. What else? Then I went to this high school, and there was this teacher, and this is what I was really exposed to, a lot of different artists. I remember one specific artist, I believe he was, I do not want to jack this up. I just know that whatever, let me see. Is it Armenian? I know he spoke Arabic, or he could have been from India. I just remember specifically like how he would create something and draw certain things that will be like a puzzle piece. I remember he drew his face. And at this moment, I was coming from middle school into high school. But I was at a level to where some would say you're at an advanced art. So coming from middle school, I would be in class with, I believe it's like 10th, 11th grade or seniors or whatever it was. But then I would be able to have, I realized now I was a step ahead to see people who were more advanced in the sense of they had more consistency upon their years because, you know, wherever they were or the classes and what they were introduced. So I was in a class full of people, like, I think I may have been the only one, or there was probably one other person who, I remember juniors and seniors, but it probably was people in there that was probably advanced. But I remember specifically being in that class and I was just like, whoa, just being exposed to something. And now coming to the self-realization that you know, and a lot of you already advanced or already, it's like, I look at it like already in a future aspect to where if you're already at this level, this says a lot about who you are. But outside, you know, like I said, to each his own with school and how people do things, but I do not per se support a grading scale because in any way that divides people, whether they're nationalities, whatever, but it's automatically a division and automatically puts people in the sense of like, you know, higher or their career, their status. But I realized within myself how I was have always been placed or been in places where, and it's probably so if you were positioned in places where it may seem like you're out of place, but you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Ashe. And even where I felt out of place, I really felt like I was supposed to be there because I was seeing so many things so young. I was seeing it was truly inspiring to see other artists. So even with that, then, you know, I went through those, again, teeter-tottering, going in and out to whether I was realizing that my healing journey was also me being guided to relationships that I realized I wasn't in alignment with creating creating a reality that really made me feel safe or secure. certain relationships, whether abuse and so forth, verbally, physically, even getting to that point to where, let's see, I went to, because that was a point in time in years I was more focused on basketball. I was more focused on certain things that, again, I was passionate, but I realized how much what I knew I was given. That's not to say that I wasn't very good at what it was, but I realized a lot of us can relate to this. I'm telling you, there was not much of a support like I realized in having now, and trusting that. And that's one of the most difficult and challenging things in the healing journey or the spiritual journey, is so much of coming to the awareness that this is something that, even though we felt our calling could have been whatever it was, and now coming to that self-realization, I was even, telling my partner, I was like, whoa, hold on. I was like, man, here I am thinking I was supposed to be a basketball player, having all these offers to, eventually go overseas, or not having even playing collegiate ball or high school, but all these opportunities, so far presenting themselves. But it was always something about my artistry, or how the divine knew that, what I really knew where my value lied, what were my natural, spiritual, or, innate gifts. And it's not to say you still don't reach people through other talents or gifts. This is something, when I eventually went to a university called Liberty. It's like, they call it the biggest Christian university in the world, and it was in Virginia. And even there, like, a lot of stuff I realized, trying to make a name for myself with basketball, trying to do a lot of things to what I see now was a lot of politics, a lot of division, a lot of things that really, had I not experienced, but I still didn't have that focus like I would towards my artistry. I did do classes, but a lot of what now I'm coming into the awareness of the stability, the value, a lot of me not having that value system that was in authenticity, in emotional support, in, mental, so forth. A lot of that I realized affected my direction in life. Now I'm grateful for it. I learned to value it. But in those experiences in the university and all that stuff, again, these are the grading scales. Here are the things that, I'm creating and so forth. But, nothing could have related more to, let's say, going back to my childhood with my teacher that I remember specifically. She used to tell me, like, if you're going to be the greatest artist in the world, you need to learn how to not erase. And that was one thing that stuck with me the most, because here I am, a child, but that was a seed that I won't ever forget that was planted. And the process of how even me getting to where I am, reflecting through the balance and how I neutralize things from the childhood traumas, the woundings, and now seeing the growth to where even experiencing the university, there was a relationship I recall almost, I think this is doing my modeling, where I was so far away from my artistry. I was so far away because I was at that moment doing the modeling, the fashion, and being introduced to things as such, going out, partying, clubbing, realizing that, again, this wasn't something I was convincing myself that I loved to do. Because, there was a lot of alcohol. There was a lot of stuff involved to where I knew that was leading me right back to where I am today, like my artistry. So around that year, I realized how much I've been self-reflecting on the last 7 years, 3 years, and so forth. That specific relationship became very abusive. The alcohol was involved. It was very codependent. It was very away from who I was internally. I do feel like it was a part of my awakening because I had made decision to move and enter a whole nother relationship without really facing myself. But what was personal before then, but during that shift, I realized it was purposeful, because had I not made that decision, had I not met specific people, that was probably 4 to 5, 6 year span before 2016, before I even, like, it may sound wild, where I picked up my first canvas, and the canvas was probably like, I say it was 30 by 40, if that. I never saw a canvas a day in my life, not even in high school, because I don't even know that I knew what a canvas was. But in high school, I remember like the pencils, what they call tortillas, if you want to say. It's like paper wrapped up real tight, and you can use it as shading. So I realized a lot of these phases or stages in my life, I was being introduced in divine timing, in a sense. But that relationship that I departed from and moved and shifted to Cali opened up a whole new portal or doorway to me transitioning from harming to healing. And what I mean by that is more so how, after leaving that relationship and realizing how much, yes, baby. Okay, not right now. Daddy, get in a little bit, okay? I'll finish up this video and I'll give you some, okay? Okay. So even that journey of where was I at? How I got reintroduced. Oh yeah, the canvas. So me shifting, and this was a huge leap, because I came from Carolina, East Coast, what they call it, and West Coast, all the way to California, and introduced myself, to a whole new lifestyle that was more fast paced, more spiritual, in a sense, meeting people from so many different demographics, so many different cultures or nationalities and so forth. And that in me meeting someone specifically, how that really opened myself up, our connection at that time, really introduced myself, reconnecting back to my artistry. Here I am, I left something that was verbally, physically abusive, and, seeing how I self-inflicted, see how I was carrying so much emotion, so many things from that, and how, I was learning to really let go. But even in that, still meeting other people, it brought more self-awareness to my own behavior patterns, my own creating the reality that I, put myself in, and still no sense of security. It was still a sense of codependency, but no sense of like self-awareness there was some there, but really the stability within. So a lot of, even talking about where I am now, a lot of that wounding or what I experienced, whether inflicted or projected onto others, that in meeting this specific lady, sister out there, in this masterpiece that I created, again, never did a canvas a day in my life until I got, somehow connected and expanded, and remember creating this eye with a baby in it and so forth. And it was around the moment where I believe my great grandmother, she had already transitioned, but in like kind of celebrating, the matriarchal, now I realize, and also the totality of my experience, because here I am after years of not being in anything like physically abusive. So that opened up a lot of things like artistry in regards to like open mic poetry, because I've always been a writer. That's another thing that I'm very familiar with and what I love to do. And that's something more that y'all just be. But that being out there in the Oakland area, the Bay Area, really highlighted a lot of things that, again, I was purging a lot out there. I was meeting people, but I became more self-aware of my own healing there. Um, I was becoming more aware of how people treated other people with their, their status, their career, and so forth. And it's not devaluing them in any way. It was just me self-reflecting on how I reconnected to my artistry and how that brought me more into an inner guidance. Me listening to like the fact of like, does this person reflect the value that I see within myself outside of their status, their career, whomever? So it didn't matter who I met, I was still going through like a lot of things, questioning my sexuality, questioning, trying to mask those things through modeling, because I was still modeling out there, still doing basketball. But a lot of this was covering up, who I truly was, my inner child, who I truly was, that, my inner child calling me back home. So that was something that was still knocking, even though I was still doing basketball, relationships, partying, and so forth. There was still something calling me to where I would do more artistry out there. This one sister I met, I remember doing something specifically on a 48 by 60 canvas, and it was more towards how it was to honor or not well, to support those who have been victimized by sexual abuse. And I just remember doing this 48 by 60 huge masterpiece of, and it's graphic, it was like the woman's womb. And in the middle of the womb was an angel with the wings broken. And on the wall inside was like tally marks. I would put tally marks. And on the outside of the lips of the yoni was like a Band-Aid, and it was like scars. But the symbolism of the angel or the child being in there was a symbolism of not only innocence, but the tally marks represented how many times, the person or being was raped. And again, I was realizing, now I come to the self-awareness of the guidance that I was getting, that I was receiving from the divine, outside of me not, I was aware, but the awareness now was seeing how the message that was being channeled through me to deliver. And by it being so big, it was me realizing, reflecting at the time, had I not even realized, the awareness until later on in my years that it happened to me. So I was connecting with people, reflecting back that which happened to me, because the sister that I met, her childhood experience when she was real young, she was raped real young. Then I had the experience to show that masterpiece to others, and a brother that I met out there had no idea, after, two brothers actually, but one of the brothers, I had no idea how it would impact him. One day I wanted to show him, and here he was, and this is not to devalue people of his stature, but I believe he was Samoan. But he was a probably 6'3", 6'4" guy, probably a good 270, 300, but he was, or 250, but he was solid. But I just recall me coming out, and that day was so magical, because when he saw it, he was like, whoa, because I revealed it to him. And what I realized, it was the energy in the masterpiece. Because where I'm getting at is like, with an artist, and this is go to recording artists and so forth, but those who really know that when you're channeling or something's being expressed, you go through an emotional purge, you go through a transformation, you go through a rebirth in your life. And even though people may not get it on the physical aspect, there's something to the depths that only we know. And that goes for everyone. Only I know from, it's like internally, I'm saying this without expressing it. So I'm painting it. I'm painting a picture through my actions. And so that could be in any way. Artistry is in any way. Recording poetry, so forth, in any way, dancing, it's so much. But when I showed him that, he was like, whoa. He's like, bro, I don't know if he said I've never told someone this, or I rarely tell someone this. But and I had no idea, he expressed to me how, I think he cried a little bit, but I just remember how he said, yeah, he was really young. And I want to say 7 or 8 when he was raped by 2 women. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, his, I don't know if it was a relative and a friend, or like they was in a relationship, like the 2 women, that is. I just remember him expressing to me like, hey man, when I was at a certain age, he remember his cousin or somebody specifically close to him that invited him into a bathroom. And he expressed to me how he just remembered waking up, like, he was unconscious and waking up and just being in this, like, I don't know if it was like Vaseline or fluids. And so if you're very graphic, just return or just turn it off. But these things are reality. But just by him telling me that, I felt it. And so, okay, baby, come here so daddy can wipe you. There you go. There you go, baby. So yeah, one moment, folks, I'm coming right back at you. Let me grab the princess something. Yeah. Give her something. I'm coming right back with y'all. Dun, 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 dun. Here you go, Lily. You got some water? Okay. You got water, baby? Okay. So yeah, what was that? Yeah, so this like very graphic in a way to where he was basically, okay, baby. So he was basically expressing to me like how, basically the details of how he like woke up unconsciously, basically covered in like these fluids that he probably didn't know knowledge of. And he could have possibly was mentioning how it was like some type of like stuff that you use during sex or something. But here he was, I believe he was in his 30s, but this big guy, you're like, what? So you're like, how is that even possible? And it's not so much of his size, it's so much of the story and then even relating to that. And at the time, I didn't realize how, like, for me, it wasn't, it brought up a lot of things I realized on my journey in different phases, why I was called, or expressing how I can connect to the depths emotionally to expressing my art, and how it can connect and reach millions and billions. So with that, I realized how, when he told me that, I was like, whoa, like immediately blown away. For one, there's like this natural narrative. I'm not saying it hasn't, people are victimized and sexually abused physically, to where it just goes unnoticed, brushed up under the rug, and it's horrible. This is, you're talking about a culture when you talk about music and stuff, talking about date rape, drugs, and putting stuff in their drinks, and certain stuff we don't even realize we were listening to, and how much it just devalued our women, and then women taking on this narrative to even believe in that, like to even think that that's acceptable, to even giving themselves up unwillingly, or being in environments where they know they don't feel safe, and then being forced, to open themselves up in such a vulnerable place by being emotionally manipulated, by being forced upon, and so forth. My heart goes out to all of you, young, all ages. And that's just not even speaking from my own experience. This is me realizing full circle how this connects to so many people, and how, again, you're talking about a culture or music and so forth that has convinced women that they just should just let it go and not speak about it, and or men. It took a lot for me to even speak about it, but for that brother at that moment when I was on that path to even express to me, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't know what people battle with, questioning their sexuality because of things that they've experienced as such, and don't know that the spiritual warfare, the demons, or spirits that they're fighting with, and they sometimes don't even know it. At the time, I didn't even know it. I didn't know where a lot of my sexual addiction came from until I started to reflect back to, seeing what it was rooted in, seeing that was, a lot of people realizing, and myself thought that was my value in giving my body away, or giving my energy away, or exchanging, energy with people without any source of value, without even honoring my body or my being. So giving myself over, self-sacrificing my life force, and or no type of awareness on how, at that moment, how it would affect me in the long run. So even with that, after that moment, that was a brother and I. Huh? With what, baby? The movie? Yeah, one moment. So, I'm glad. I appreciate your patience. Appreciate it. But, where's that at? Yeah, this other brother, amazing brother. Like I said, you just never judge a book by its cover. This other brother, we were, somehow I was just called to this event. He's like, yeah, man, I'm going to this, what is it? Rape awareness circle, I believe it was called. I was like, what? What is that? And I was like, man, never in my life. And see, this whole time you're on this journey, and the divine is revealing something to you. Here it is. You're like, why am I being called here? And this is how much I realized the trauma was so deep within myself that I've covered it up through self-sacrificing my own emotions, my own suppressing, through sports, through a lot of things to deflect the reality of how wounded I really was. Being in relationships too that, wasn't valuable in a sense of that reflected my divine value, that reflected more wounding or more childhood woundings than anything. So it was more on the sexual, sensual side. Why y'all wanna, let me let the cat out. Big cat out the bag. You want to go out, Aries? Go ahead. See you later. So, whew, that's how you gotta stay consistent, my boy. You gotta stay consistent. Okay, but anywho, what's that? Yeah, being in those relationships, where I realized, reflecting now, how it reflected my own internal battle. You know, the things that I wanted that have been suppressed so long, the things that I realized other families members went through, the things I realized other friends that were going through, and that here I am, like, seeing how my heart, how open I was, how I was put in those positions, not to judge, and even if I did, I was judging myself. So I realized a lot of those relationships, and I had to forgive myself for a lot of these things. I had to forgive the other person, but I had to forgive myself most importantly, because I attracted this, or I was in relationships where I just thought, you know, here it is, we're growing up in a society or an environment where the focus is just see women externally, just see them from a lower state, or, you know, the root aspect, because a lot of men, such as myself, we have been in this lower state of just seeing women sexually, not sensually, but just in a state of just them being just for sex, an object, just being more focused on the outer image. And if they just look good, whatever on the outer image, not focus on the spiritual aspect, and, you know, connecting with those who, again, reflected what I've experienced, or either can connect and seeing how they reflected or mirror back to me, whether I wanted to see it or not, whether they knew their value or they didn't. And then you think you're exchanging energies with these people, or being in an intimate setting and expecting more of them, expecting love or expecting some type of fulfillment, and in reality, they haven't met themselves to their depths, and neither have you. I mean, let's call it out for what it is. And so, again, in a society as such, now meeting women more in an emotional aspect, that's one of the most challenging things now. But that also, I'm going to get into that, about how it reflects my artistry now, and how that connects to the emotional abandonment and or unfulfillment that I did not receive at that moment in my life, but now realizing how much I neglected, and how myself and self-sacrifice myself for the sake of others' happiness, for the sake of sexual preferences, for the sake of putting myself in predicaments where there wasn't value. It wasn't divine value at that. And so that the event, this brother, shout out, I don't know if he ever see this again, but shout out to brother Malik. His brother, and his name just came, because I was trying to think of it earlier, but Malik. And we went to this event, and it was a circle. And I was like, listening to people who had went through stuff like dad raping them, or their cousin, or something like, and then them living with like a rape survivor, or I'm like, what? I'm in this circle like, is this real? And then had no idea that when I'm there, the brother that invited me, he spoke up and told me about what he experienced. And I was like, whole time. And it what was amazing about it is like the courage people have to even speak about it. Whether you still have the courage to say it or not, it's just the courage to even, the acceptance that comes with it. Because we've all, or I know myself, live with the idea, or convince myself that at a moment when those things happen, that sex was my only outlet to be valued, to be seen, to be embraced, to be accepted. And that was the total opposite of what my true divine value is, and more so of, that's not where value lies. You know, again, it was on a lower aspect, lower level, instead of a sacred aspect, you know, an energetic aspect. And at that moment, again, after hearing that and experiencing, I was like, whoa. And like I said, I was connecting with people who had At the time, the sister didn't really tell me how many partners, but you can only imagine to where here someone has been, sexually abused, and this is sexual trauma. And what a lot of people don't really know is that when a man, if this has happened, this is very graphic, by the way. I'm just letting you know. I will put that on the thing, but this is just, I'm just showing you how, from my experience with my artistry, how this has affected myself. But for people that don't know, when people go through things as such, you're talking about fluids that can stay in the body for a period of time. And those that are on that level of awareness is that you're talking about an energetic aspect too. That trauma and those fluids go into the tissue. So that affects someone pH imbalance. That affects someone on an intimate, mental, spiritual aspect, realm, or whatever you want to call it. That affects them in so many ways, not just physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And so in that innocence from that, I realized that what I was recovering in many ways. And people speaking up about that, that's a process I realized in seeing others helps them recover. You okay, baby? Helps them recover, be restored with that joy again. And, now where I'm at, it's like me doing things that reconnects to my childhood experience. It's like my life is like therapy, bro. Like, in the reality, that's why my artistry or what I've been given is like therapy. It's very therapeutic. So it's much more bigger than the price. A lot of which, whether, people feel like, okay, this is a lot more, or this, a lot of people, if it was up to me, honestly, there would be no price tag. There would, like, a lot of this stuff I see as an artist, that it's truly limitless. It's the do we deserve to receive? Do I deserve, or do we deserve to live a life, of harmony, peace, and a luxurious life? In a sense, it's more a sense of like I'm the luxury, or through the gifts that I have, it's like I'm able to share and not take no ownership or see it as like me making it seem like I'm better than anyone just because of any of that. So when it comes to that, like the artistry and what we create, I learn more of how, from my own experiences, like the dedication and the consistency in, what brought me joy. And everyone is different. Every individual, every masterpiece, I could say it's like from a different place in my life and experience, from a different phase. A lot of art that I just shared with you, just from the experience and how it affected others, I didn't know at that moment how much it probably brought them healing, or probably triggered something too for them to heal, or probably brought up some type of wounding or childhood experience. Again, whether I knew it unconsciously or not, how much it could have affected them and helped them. Some could perceive it as, oh, why you do that, and so forth, but I cannot allow that to deter me from what it is I'm here to do. So even with me creating, a lot of what I've been doing is literally like an inner guidance. It's like my navigation system of, like, it's much more bigger than the money. At the moment, there was a time in my life where I was just giving my artistry out, because I was called to, just planting seeds in a way. And then now you get to that awareness of like, okay, if I want to live a life and create a life to where I could be self-sufficient, stable, secure, not only within, because again, this comes from within. So if I want to create a life external to that internal, value system, then that's what has been the process of how me regaining and being restored with that joy, that harmony, that love, and reflecting back to my childhood to see like, oh my gosh, this is not only my way out, but this is this is a gateway to limitless possibilities. So now, you know, at a time I wasn't so focused, or I wasn't focused on, you know, at a point in time, there was a lot of self-sacrificing when it did come to my artistry. There was a lot of like not me feeling worthy of the prices. There was a lot that came with it. But that was a lot centered around, again, stability. That a lot was centered around, you know, connecting with people on a level of them not really seeing my value because I didn't see my value. Then the process of going through things where people criticized it, you know, judge or say whatever it is about my artistry. But at the same moment, I stay consistent. So a lot of you artists or creators, healers, whatever you do in this world and whatever you're called to do, remember that you're valuable. And what I mean by you're valuable, you have a limitless value within yourself that the divine or source creator, however you want to see it, the Most High sees that you are here and you are unlocking as you know, different aspects, different gifts of yourself as you level up and choose to face, you know, your fears, your subconscious fears, that which you learned from your childhood. And in that process, you're going to gradually expand your horizon naturally. You know, reach people that you never thought you would reach, from nations, regions, countries, and so forth. And one of the biggest things that I felt was challenging is expanding outside of what some may call local or your city. That doesn't mean you forget about where you come from. It's just the self-awareness and this genuine support. I had to go through that a lot. At a point in time, I remember I had to use my art to simply survive, you know, and now I realize the thriving aspect. Because when I say it's big, more bigger than the money, now I see the money as an energetic exchange. There were moments where I would give stuff and not looking for something in return, but I really felt like this is my magic, this is my creation. So the divine wanted me to be more stern and aware of where it is it's going, because are they going to appreciate it? You know, that led me to even not even doing certain things in environments where if I know that people didn't appreciate it, why would I do it? Those were the healthy boundaries came in. So a lot of which, again, there's a lot of growth around even creating art. And so even now, I remember creating things where a lot of it came full circle. A lot of I saw was like prophecy in a way. A lot of things I was just like, whoa. Now seeing the awareness in it, and now seeing the bigger picture to how it affects so many people. For one, I'll actually talk about some of the pieces. You know, this one was very significant. How it says, know thyself and love yourself. And then the crown. And a lot of why this was significant that I did was, you know, me hugging myself for once. Me, you know, loving on myself, you know, really coming to this place in my life where I've been so far away from myself because I was overgiving or pouring into others' cup rather than my own. And the crown still, I'm on 20%, okay. So the crown still signifies the fact of how, no matter what, I'm still Godhead, or still, you know, my crown hasn't ever fell off. It's still there no matter if my back is turned to the world. In me still loving myself and choosing myself, that doesn't, you know, knock me off of my throne in the sense of like, in the sense of my life, like me being head of my life, or me standing in my power, and me realizing in the spiritual or metaphysical sense that, you know, my crown symbolizing the power not only within but externally. You know, people still seeing, you know, the representation of not only me physically, but me spiritually, in the sense to where, you know, knowing thyself and loving thyself is still is power in that. So with that, there's a process of me having to return and face a lot of subconscious fears around going through the process of even my journey with my artistry, of family, certain people not being supportive, no genuine support, me having to believe in myself no matter who believed in me, mom, dad, no matter who, partners or whatever. Being in relationships where I can sense at the time, I can sense it, but I was just naive and keep going. But I knew now I was being divinely protected, where I was in relationships where my light would shine within, or my authenticity, and I would express my gifts and show my gifts, and then there would be immediately like some type of, you know, you can sense the jealousy or the enviness, because people knew you had something great, and just for them to just don't want to support at all. So again, no one knows the consistent drive that I had and the passion, no matter what, no matter who saw it, even the visions that I was given to the people I was going to reach. And, you know, let's say, I saw myself getting this from a masterpiece, seeing it in the vision and so forth. You know, it looks different for everyone. But even seeing that, not knowing when, it's the process of being consistent, staying true to yourself. Whether you had the money or not, how was that support going to come? Through someone else, or through, you know, you letting go of this partnership or letting go of certain things to get to where you're going? So this one, recently I put a gloss over it. Looks so amazing now. Oh my gosh. This one again symbolizes like me driving my own ship in a sense, or like spaceship, or me recovering my mind in the sense of what I went through traumatically as a child, the inner dialogue, the I want to say PTSD, but it's more so like the multiple personality disorders of going through, taking on these things that affected my character that really wasn't valuable. So this, in essence, like showed me like, okay, now I'm back in the driver's seat. Now it's all, you know, forward from here, forward motion. So the thing with this is, again, there was a song, what is it? I think it's ATLiens by Outkast, and shout out, you know, Andre 3000. He said, spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors, they dip. I believe it's that song. It's either that song or, yeah, spaceship don't come equipped with rear view mirrors. They dip. So when I love that, because the beauty of that just reminds me, a lot of what you're seeing now is that there was a point in my life where the symbolism in this is like I was going inward to myself, facing a lot of things within myself. And no one else could grasp, no one else could face, no one else could embrace, no one else could know the depths of, again, my healing spiritual journey, or my journey, and I'm not asking no one to. It's just me having the confidence and the consistency, and me rebuilding that self-esteem, me, and that self-confidence in myself through that process of feeling like I was realizing that people didn't abandon me. No, I abandoned me. So in me choosing myself, I was no longer going to abandon my gifts, my natural abilities, and being consistent through it. I would encourage anyone, you know, you got to have more faith in yourself, in what, you know, in climbing the ladder to reconnect to the divine, no matter who's trying to pull you down. You got to have more faith in yourself, that you know that you can do it, and you can, and you will, and you already have. So a lot of these masterpieces that I were doing, let me grab another one, show you the significance before this phone on this percentage. This one I love too, because it says authentic, and then it says value, then it says harmony, and what is this other one say? Lovable. So when you see a lot of my masterpieces like nude, and it's to show the spiritual nakedness, like not having an identity. And this is why I love this one so much, because I'm just grateful, because again, it reflects my journey, and I had to learn to realize and accepting this, and go through the process of healing certain blockages in myself, in the root aspect, the root chakra of that survival mentality, not wanting to let go, but and also feeling worthy of receiving what I know I'm valuable of. So no one's gonna know what your value truly is if you don't know the value. And that's not something like, again, outside of the money aspect. Money is energy. Everything is energy. But outside of that is me knowing the value and know what I'm worthy of. That goes back to my self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. So the reason why you see all the colors is like the spectrum of light, but it's also no identity. You know, in this transitioning of, you know, walking away from relationships, you know, leaving so many things behind, I had to grasp the concept of realizing that there was no identity to that. So in accepting that, I realized like it's okay for me to go through this as long as I still got myself. Let me make sure I'm on some good percentage. Okay, 18, we good. So a lot of that I realized my art start reflecting a lot now of my growth, on my spiritual journey and healing journey in this path. So it's just beautiful now. This one I did recently. Oh my God. This is one of my favorites because when I did it, it brought me so much joy. And as I was doing this, if you can really see that in his hair, it says valuable. And I, you know, connect that to my hair because, you know, people, you know, the whole stereotype on natural hair and how that has been criticized and demonized or whatever about, you know, people, you know, not honoring the fact of how people, their outer appearance and how people judge their outer appearance before they really get to know the person. And a lot of that reflects their inner image, their inner appearance, their self concept of who they are. And this one, oh my gosh, like I took the cowrie shells out and I put them on here. So these are like, it's the 3D aspect. And I was walking the other day and I was like, bro, everything's so aligned. And I was walking with my princess and now she was napping. I came across this black glitter. I don't know where it's at now. And I was like, something was on sidewalk and I picked it up. I said, there's some black glitter. I said, I wonder what I'm gonna use this for. And that's what you see in this hair. It's like a magical sequence in a way. It's like, and the reason I love this one the most is because it reflects where I'm at on my journey. It's like coming back home to that joy again, laughing, no matter my smile. I love this because it's like a crook smile or a gap. And shout out to those who got a gap or a crook smile. You know, to each his own. Like I said, some people can have a lot of money and choose not to get their teeth fixed. So forth. I mean, it is what it is. You know, that's a decision whether I make in the future. I don't really care for, but, you know, as of now. But getting back to this. Are you okay, baby? Lily, you okay? You playing with the toys or something? Okay. Okay, so like him holding up his mouth is like, you know, as you can see, those that don't know, yeah, I have a crooked smile, but guess what? I had to learn over time to embrace it. This brought me so much joy because it celebrates that. You know, it's also not just the outer appearance, it's the inner appearance showing that I'm still valuable. No matter what you see on the outside, I'm within still valuable. God. And all of these are available on my Etsy. So again, yes, my Etsy account. But this one, oh, I just did this one. Yo, no, man. It's so, this one hits, yo. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all ready with it? This is so dope. This looks so wild. I did this, huh? You pooping? Oh, gosh. Okay, let daddy know when you finish. So I just did this one today. And if you can read it, it says powerful. And I came up with, like, I was like, man, if something came to me and when I was, like, the night before I was laying there. And I was like, I got to do something with, like, the spiritual eye. Some people may call it the third eye. And, you done? Okay, come here. Okay, let me handle this right quick, y'all. All right, boom, boom, boom. Let me wipe your butt. Wipe your butt. Pull your pants up. There you go. Ooh, you pee. Oh. Okay. Yeah, this is that special one though. I love it. So I just finished this one up. That ain't wipe my hands because it's actually watercolor. I don't think I want to put a coat on it. I do not need to get this wet. My hands are wet. I had to wash them. But this one, man, oh my God. Again, like I'm tapping into a place where like I'm feeling that joy again. So a lot of my artistry is reflecting the fun now. So it says powerful. Again, celebrating the empowerment of like hair empowerment, locks, or people with natural hair being just natural and authentic. This one just says powerful. And so what I did, I had some glasses. I was like, man, I'm just going, who cares? I found them anyways. I was like, let me snap them. So these are actually shades. And then as I was finishing, I said, let me give a 3D look. And so I put those white highlights to make it look like a light shining. I didn't even really notice how like really wow that looks now. So it's like, you know, blocking the haters out. You know, you can't see it to my, you know, they say the eyes are the windows of the soul, but still being able to see you in the spiritual sense. But yeah, this is like really one of my favorites, yo. Like I just did this today. This will be available on my Etsy account soon, real soon. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna price this at, but I don't know. Might do a giveaway soon, but who knows? But this is one of my favorite. Again, the black glitter is really just, it's hitting. This is one of my favorites, y'all. Y'all don't get it. So again, I'm noticing now that a lot of my artistry now is centered around like a lot of joy from within and expressing that however that looks. And a lot of artistry, a lot of things I'm gonna do is now, I don't want to get out to what, really celebrating the inauthentic in an authentic way. Like like people that would judge people. So a lot of my artistry symbolizing not only just spiritual sense, but also how the outer appearance as well. The inner image and the outer appearance. So a lot of this now is like, it's beyond, like I said, it's beyond just the price in itself, but these are all original, you know, organic masterpieces. So, you know, it's the process is even the patience through it. Because, you know, here you are planting seeds, creating something. And a lot of people don't realize, like, when you're talking about you want an artist to create something or whatever, and here you are trying to do something to where people like, whether they want to like it or not or accept it. I told myself I'm going to change the whole narrative around that. I want to, my artistry, a lot of stuff be centered around my journey, my path, and those who are aligned and can relate and connect to it, so be it. Then even with that, they'll know that it's, like I'm expressing to you now, it's bigger than the money aspect. It's more so like, I know what I'm worthy of. I know my value, my internal value, and no one is going to put limitations on me for that. If I say something as small as that can be 1 million or 1 trillion, hey, in my heart. But other than that, it's also to inspire the youth and or whatever your age is to keep going. Let your pain be your gain. And that's how I'm seeing things now. It's like, let me express so you can really see that this isn't just like for accolades or try to get some type of attention or acceptance. This is really just, it's like soulful art. It's creation. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. And like I said, there's artists, you know, we go through things that it would be priceless. That was a lot of my journey to where it's, You know, like I said, I couldn't convince people. Like, I had to learn to be stern and secure and be like, this is what it is, no questions asked. Just as somebody said they got mouth to feed, I got a mouth to feed. I got others to, you know, connect with and expand on, and other things that I love to do and want to do and will do while I'm here. So in that, it's, you know, honoring that spirit of discernment, honoring your intuition, honoring your emotions, and realizing how much, even from those, you know, abuse and things that you went through in childhood, or what I went through, I realized how to channel that pain and that darkness and to illuminate it in so many ways. And there's going to be much more to come. Writings and so forth. But again, this is to, again, remind people that being authentic is okay. That process, again, I had to be so patient to whether I was like, you know, I accept that whatever happens with the masterpieces, so be it. And it's never, I didn't, you know, it wasn't ever, number one rule, not to take it personal. And as quick as it, you know, I created them, or, you know, I realized like whomever is open to receive it, they'll value it. And again, it's patience, because you're talking about planting seeds and going through the motions, asking an artist, or, you know, people don't know to the depth. Like, you asking someone commission art, those who do that stuff, man, big ups to you, because people want you to do stuff, but then it's like, fuck the criticism. Like, yo, people y'all don't even realize, like, bro, stand in your power, be authentic. Like, don't let nobody walk over you. If they don't, obviously, they don't respect you, they don't respect themselves. Because I saw a lot, even all types of artistry, and people go through stuff, and people just overlooking people such as myself and so forth. I didn't take it personal. I realized, you know what? Hey, I just want to remind the youth, especially, and wherever age you are, that, look, man, you can do all things. All things are possible. All things are possible. You're going to see this artistry on clothes everywhere, internationally, globally, you know, the ethers and, you know, shoes or whatever. It's about empowerment. That's what I want to send, an empowering message. Like, you can have fun. Those of you that were called weird in school, those of you that, you know, went through traumatic experience and people laughed and brushed you off and wrote you off, and just, you know, no matter where they are, value that relationship. I had to learn that, to value the process that I went through to see where I am. Because most importantly, if I look at reflecting back on all of what I experienced, there was something that people had to learn from relationships when I knew I wasn't a lot of self-aware or ignorant in my actions, and they had to value that and move forward. I had to learn to value all of my relationships, most importantly with myself. So, again, there was a lot of things when it comes to artistry. I don't, you know, seeing the websites, you know, seeing the stuff where people, they got to judge your art and try to say, or how much it's worth. Who are you to decide that? Like, I'm telling y'all, bro, I went through some experiences, man. I seen artists who would put stuff, you know, I just couldn't do the trending thing. Like, I just really had a knack to just set my stones and build my own empire in a way, or build my own whatever it was. And I realized I was already doing that, whether I knew it unconsciously or not. But as I start to progress, I realize, like, wow, I'm really here to do everything differently. And in standing in my boundaries, that's also having a spirit of discernment to know what to offer people, and also not let people who don't even respect who you are, the culture, or whatever it is, try to come in and, you know, want to get some false sense, create this false identity around their false supporting you or genuinely supporting you. Yeah, I'm already on you, bro. I'm already on y'all. It's love, but at the same time, get with the program. Because this is the thing. Y'all here to do something. We here to do something totally different, y'all. Empower each other. You know, collaborate. That's one thing I'm learning. I had the honor to. One thing I realized about on this whole thing is that my princess, that's beautiful, baby. My princess has been creating stuff, and then just having an opportunity, and her not even saying not, hey baby, can I draw? Can I create something over there? And it's the collaboration in that. I've experienced, people, I ain't finna get nobody no free clout or whatever, to where, and I could see where they were coming from, them seeing it from a personal aspect. But it really, me having not taken it personal and letting go, I realized how much it was just opening doors to collaborate, to connect, to even when she's creating something, seeing no judgment into what she's creating, it is still amazing. And now when she creates something, then I paint with it or paint, not covering her up, but collaborating. And then being able to post it or put it somewhere. Like somebody may see, like for instance, because I know the phone about to die. Let me see where this on. 13. So somebody may see this. This is what she did. And so I can see that, like, the masterpiece in this. Because I had to learn that too on my art journey, and even my whole journey in life. It's like not ever to compare yourself. We grew up in a society about that. The ego, the wounded ego, wanting to compare ourselves to other people, their status, whatever they have, so forth. But the innocence of this is seeing how she creates something. And I can see the beauty and innocence in that. And this is where I was getting to. Now, mine is just more consistent because over time or through my experience, it's the fun and this consistency. But at the same moment, seeing hers, this was something like, if she doesn't use or we choose to keep it or so forth, my collaboration would just to be to add something on here. But the beauty in it is just like, there's no judgment. And we all eat from it. We all, you know what I'm saying? So to each his own what you do. But one thing that I'm learning now is to realize, like, stand in your truth, man. You ain't get this far, just like me. I didn't get this far to be questioning my worth or questioning who I am, because the doubt it rolls up to, like, when I created a lot of stuff and I put certain prices, the doubt did come up and, like, subconsciously, my fears, like, am I worthy of this? And more so, well, when I get this, do I gotta contribute? Do I gotta do this for everybody else? And I had to really plan out stuff, because I would see that naturally, whether people, you see that in rap or just other stuff, the whole culture around, oh, when you get this, you gotta immediately help someone else. But I told myself, and then no matter what I'm creating, it's a balance between being there for self, celebrating you, and celebrating others. You see where I'm getting at? Because that's a balance and a neutral, being neutral to life. There was a concept people want to, get all this, all your hard work. People are going to feel the ways. I had to accept that. I had to accept that too. People are going to feel the ways because they're going to feel like they are obligated, or they should feel, entitled to your blessings. And in reality, no one knows the consistency. And now the table's being turned. You get to choose. You make that decision. I had to realize and accept that. Putting the emotions aside and realize, hold on. Had I not stayed consistent? Had I not asked my ancestors and spirit guides and, the divine for strength, then now being able to share this with y'all. Like I said, it's a beautiful experience. No one knows when they're going to go or transition. So a lot of which I realized, to be able to create, it's different for me to be able to create this in front of my princess, for her to be able to see my artistry, for her to be able to lay eyes on this, and me being a bridge to show her, like, it's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be you. It's okay, no matter what the world tells you, your value is within and your value is limitless. So I didn't have that growing up, but I still value those relationships to show me, to build my self-esteem again, to build my self-worth, to believe in myself again. So now I'm being a bridge for her to show, like, hey, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Know that this still came from you, and know that you have a gift and the ability to create this. There's no comparison. There's no me forcing her, like, you gotta be what I am. Has nothing to do with that. We all came here to be something and to be great at it. And we're already great at it. No matter what the world has told us, no matter what grading scale, no matter what status, no matter what you have materialistically, you are valuable, and your value isn't determined in those things that you gain external from you. You know, take that external things that you gain don't take away from the value that you have within. And that's limitless. And that's truly, you are the miracle. I'm a miracle. Certain things I didn't even see me to survive on my path, and it's still here to have my health, to breathe, to be able to love and receive love, to be able to, you know, certain things, to have a home, to have something to, you know, just simple things to be grateful for, to be able to be in gratitude to share this with y'all throughout whatever you don't even know what's going on with my life. The mental capacity that I had to get through, the things that I had to get through mentally to even get to this place to create things as such, man. So it's bigger. It's way much more bigger. I just want to have fun, man. I'm learning to have fun again. This is about having fun. So it's us learning now, reconnecting to your joys, learning to have fun again. I feel like that's what the world is really missing out on. I'm realizing now through my artistry, it's like I'm learning to have fun again. I really am reconnecting to that innocence. And that's layers. That comes in layers. The healing journey happens in layers. You know, certain things still coming up from certain ages. But in that, am I able to face that wounding? Am I able to assess that subconscious fear, doubt, or whatever it is, and now transmute it? And this is what you're seeing. A motherfucking alchemist, bruh. You can, but I won't stop now. But anywho, so you gotta know you untouchable, man. It's some, hey, y'all ain't seen nothing, what? I'm telling you, man, if I can encourage anybody, man, be you for you. I love you. I appreciate you. I value you. Peace and blessing. Shalom.